Okay, today's the day I am going to head up the Siphon Draw trail. Most people use this trail to get to the top of the Flatiron, one of the hardest hikes in Arizona. I'm trying to get to the Slickrock area, which I believe is about 2 miles in. And what my hope is, I'm heading up in the afternoon. And what I'm hoping for is the sun is going to start to come down and start to bounce some nice reflected light off the walls and the canyon up in there. And then also just the Slickrock itself, hoping for some interesting textures, patterns, and things like that. I'll hang up there until about sunset, but I'll start to make my way down, so on the way out I can catch some of the sunset colors on the actual cliff walls itself. Starting out early today, I sort of scouted this yesterday evening for a sunset hike, met some other hikers, and I asked how far it was to where I wanted to go from where I was. They told me it was an hour. That seems a bit long to me, but just in case they're right, I want to get up there nice and early and not be too rushed or anything like that. There's going to be a lot of people on the trail. This is a super popular trail. It's a Sunday afternoon, so I expect there'll be lots of folks there. But I think that's where the small scenes is going to work out really well for me, is because I'm going to go up there. And it really doesn't matter how crowded it is. There should be some opportunities to get some small scenes, some textures, some colors, things like that up in this Slickrock area. We'll see how it goes. Never been up there before. Not 100% sure what the hike will be like. I know the first half is really doable, and I'm stopping short of the really difficult part to get to the top of the Flatiron. So yeah, so I'm going to finish packing up the bag, and we're going to start off that way, and we'll let you follow along as I go, see what I come out with. So the trail is just full of people. Sunday afternoon, people going up, people coming back down. So it's going to be pretty crowded on the way up, but you'll even be able to see them in the video. It's just, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm hoping by doing small scenes at the Siphon Draw part, it won't be too terrible up there for the photography aspect of it. Since I don't need the grand scenes, I won't have to Photoshop a lot of people out. With that said, I'm aiming, the Flatiron is that big obstacle, that big cliff face right up there. And I'm going into that canyon right there. It's called the Siphon Draw. And that's where I'm going to go up. And inside that canyon is the Slickrock. And that's what I'm after, is to get that Slickrock. Beyond the Slickrock, the trail gets really difficult. I'd love to hike it, but probably not with a full camera bag. So today I'm just trying to get to that Slickrock up there. I don't know, what time is it? I probably got about an hour-ish hike from here, maybe 50 minutes. We'll see what happens, but on we go. So this is where I made it to last night for sunset. And there was a couple cool little things. I mainly used the 100 to 400 here. There was some stuff up on this cliff wall as the sun went down. It was super cool. Or at least I think it was super cool. I haven't really edited the photos yet, but we'll see. And then just playing with this rock face. A lot of it coming here was just to get a little different angle of things and sort of get a feel for how this trail was, to see about what time I needed to leave. And on that note, when I said I left early, or I'm leaving early, it wasn't early in the day. It was, I'm aiming to be up there in the afternoon light, the late afternoon light up there in that Slickrock area up there. And so when I mean leave early, I left around like 12:45 p.m. or something like that. That way, if it took 2 hours to get up there, I'd still get up there by around 3. And, you know, doing all the video camera work and stuff on the way up does slow me down a bit to get up there. So that's what I meant by leaving early. Making good time, all things considered. Definitely hotter today than yesterday afternoon when I came up. But I'm going up between that giant rock, it's got a name, I can't remember what it is, and heading to the left, there's some people up there, and I believe that's the base of the Slickrocks that are sticking out from that canyon up there. So that's where I have to go. We're going to probably start to pick up the pace just a little bit from here. I'll show you some of the interesting parts along the way, of course, but I want to get up there, have plenty of time to set up and scope out my compositions, and as the light changes, as the sun starts to go down over, well, it's actually going to go down in that direction. I want to make sure that I have an idea and I don't just walk in just as what I hope is going to be okay light, decent light happening. So I'm going to hit the trail and move on up. Okay, I made it into the shaded area of the canyon, and it looks like I'm going up this way to try to get to the Slickrock. Lots of people out. Doesn't look too bad up there. I'm not sure how much further past the Slickrock is, but we're going to start making my way up there. Might toss on the GoPro real quick just so get a little bit of visual. So let's swap into that and move on up. Okay, made it a little higher. It's right back there. It looks pretty steep, so that should be interesting. I wasn't expecting that, I don't think. But you can see where people are going on up to the Flatiron. There's the trail. Let's see how they get up there. Man, no way am I doing that with a camera bag. Anyways, still making my way this way. Ohio lungs are not great for this kind of stuff. This trail to where I'm going is rated moderate, I think, if that. This last whole section, a little tough. So, yeah, I want to get up in there and then hope the sunset light plays nicely in this canyon here. See what happens. Like we learned yesterday, it doesn't always work out. Let's see what we get. Almost there. You can see people coming down from the Flatiron, which is the big, tilt this back. That is the big mountain right up there, big cliff face. That's Flatiron. And these people are coming down from that height. The Slickrock I wanted to get into is right there in front. And we're going to sit down, drink some water, have a snack, and look for small scenes. That's where I'm going to say I'm not going to go up on the Flatiron. There's no way I could do it with this camera bag. I'm not in that good a shape. So let's get there, have our little snack while we size the place up, and on the way. Okay, made it to the draw. Peanut butter crackers are the best. Okay, so I had my little snack and I've been setting up a few shots. Really what's interesting, the colors here, we're on the shades, there's not a whole lot of colors, but I'm finding the little plant life against the rock is pretty cool. So that's what I'm focusing on here. This, what I'm photographing now, is actually a waterfall when it's rained recently. It doesn't run very often, I guess. But there's just a cool little plant sticking out against the black rock, and I'm getting that. Bring that ISO down a little bit. Bring my aperture up to 7.1. Bring the histogram down a little bit by speeding the shutter up and get my focus. Oops, forgot to have exposure delay on. Put exposure delay to 2 seconds. And it could be pretty cool. We'll get a couple more of these. Okay, I've been playing around here. Like I said, a lot of the highlights, the little things I've been seeing is just these little plants and grass growing out from the walls, and they look very contrasty to the textured walls. So did several shots of that, got something up on the skyline up over this way. I climbed further up this Slickrock, and it is actually not real favorable to taking photos from the standpoint that it's really steep going up and down it. So there's not really a lot of flat spots to hang out. So I climbed up some, and then I've come off to the side. I've got this heavily textured vertical rock over here on the one side. Again, I'm going to get some patterns, get some textures, and see how that all works out. The Slickrock itself and the base, it's all pretty washed out. Probably when the rain comes, washes the dirt through, so it hides a lot of the color and a lot of the pieces and parts to it. So it's not quite as interesting as I thought. A little bit of dampness would probably help it. Probably make it more treacherous too. I've been all 100 to 400. Like I said, my whole reason to come up here wasn't so much expansive scenes as much as textures, and again, working on that, seeing the small, and there's a lot of it here, and that's sort of training my head to see that, training my creativity to see that. So I'm going to play a little bit more here. My goal is to be back out by sunset so that I can catch some of the sunset on the hike down, and I'll have to calculate how long I think it'll take. I think the hardest part is actually getting back down from where I'm at right now, down to the base of the Slickrock, because it's pretty steep. It was easy to go up, but tricky to go down, especially with a heavy camera bag. So yeah, let's play. Shooting ISO 400 just to keep the shutter up a little bit in case it's shaky. I'm not on the world's most stable terrain. F5.6, everything I'm shooting against is pretty flat, and that's what I'm shooting. Found an interesting cactus over this way that's sort of skies highlighted, got a little cliff rock coming down. We'll see how it comes out. I think it'll be a fun image. Not sure it's going to be an awesome image, but it should be fun. Okay, I think that about wraps it up for here. I thought I'd get a little bit more reflected light in here, but it's pretty deep into here, and maybe there's a little bit up high, but yeah, just not a whole lot from that angle, but lots of cool textures. I got some of that, and like I said, what really stood out to me was the plant life against some of these scenes, the hardness of the rock, and then the softness of the plants, just the fortitude for those plants to survive. So I got lots of those shots, and I feel pretty good about them. I think I'll get some decent ones out of that, so pretty happy. With that said, did some mental math. I don't think it'll take me the same time to get down as it did to get up, but I do want to be out there so I can get some of the sunset on the cliff walls photos out there. So anyways, it's probably real close to start packing up and start heading down this slope and get set up out there so I can get some sunset photos before I head back to the car. And like I said, we'll check in. Okay, made it down the Slickrock. It's really one of those that I tell my kids, you trust your feet, even though it feels like you really shouldn't, but the boots stuck fine. It really wasn't that big a deal. It moved slow because of the heavy pack, but other than that, it wasn't too bad. And from here, head on out. Strapped on the, I keep calling it GoPro, but anyone who watches my channel knows I'm not a big fan of GoPro, and I've switched over to DJI Action 4 for this time because they actually run when it's cold out. And so yeah, so we'll run some footage on the way out. I'm going to head back probably to the same spot I did my sunset photos from last night. And we'll sort of probably wrap things up there. We'll see how I feel when we get there. And so from here, take the hike out. And there we've got city of Phoenix way off in the distance. Sun setting out there over the valley. Those mountains across the way could be interesting to photograph if the light hits them just right. And where I'm going to be, potential there. Some clouds in the sky too over sunset direction, so maybe the clouds will pop tonight. So not a whole lot of hiking footage, third person. Get a little bit of GoPro action here. And a little bit of me talking on the way down. The trail's not terrible on the way down, but it's a little steep, and you need to pay attention to route finding. And I sort of want to hit my spot for sunset. So, and watch for snakes sunning themselves on the trail, which is a busy enough trail. I don't think that's a huge problem because there's so many people been through. They should be steering clear, but you never know. So I like to watch where I walk. But yeah, we're making it our way down. I'm gonna I think I'm gonna go to the same spot I was last night. Should have just enough time to drink some more water, have a little snack, and enjoy the sunset. There are some clouds over that way. Might get a nice sunset, actual sunset. We'll pause here in the shade for just a second to finish my thought. Sunsets. You'll notice a lot of my Lost Dutchman area sunset pictures are actually of the rocks and the cliffs, which are the opposite direction of where the sun sets. The sun is setting to the west, obviously, and shining on the rocks. And the colors is just what's simply amazing. And there's not always been enough clouds to make for super interesting sunset. It's just a big bright ball setting on the horizon. Tonight may be a little different. There's some thin clouds over there. It could light up. And so I get to keep an eye on both directions as we do that. I've done a couple sunset pictures, but just real quick, and they're more silhouette-y than amazing clouds or anything like that. So, like I said, I'm going to make my way down the trail, hit my spot, grab a snack, and we'll just see what unfolds. Looks like someone is at my spot. We're going to give it a few before I settle in. I drank some water. Oh, he's moving. I'm going to go get my spot back. Cruise down and get my spot real quick. Let's go. No one's as patient as a photographer. Let's just face that. So, heading down, go get my spot claimed, and then get everything all set up. Okay, got to my spot. Everything is saved. Like I said, not a lot of folks have the patience of a photographer, and I tend to hike out of here pretty quick. So I'm able to come up a little further or stay a little further onto the trail than maybe others might feel comfortable with. So all good for me, because this is the spot I wanted to play with again. I'm going to show you around real quick. Let's flip this camera around. Okay. So I've taken pictures of that before. It's just that nice cliff buttress. I have some really great ones from down closer into the park, or at least I think they're great ones. But just the colors hitting it from back in monsoon season, super cool. We're going to go real quick through the sun. Sun's going to set over there. Super bright, but there's some clouds and some mountains over there that can make it interesting. So we're going to keep an eye on it. Maybe those clouds will pop. Could get really lucky. Over there in the distance, sometimes how the light hits these can be sort of cool. It's a little hazy, but it's got some options. Again, 100 to 400 for these just to sort of punch in on those. And last night, I spent a lot of time up photographing these rocks all around here, which as the light softened up, as the sun went down, things were looking pretty cool. Last night, I shot all 24 to 120 and 100 to 400, no wide. Probably not a lot of wide tonight. I don't think this part of the park makes a good wide. Let's flip around. I don't think this part of the park makes so great for a wide. The buttress over here, that could go wide, but that's one of the reasons I switched to the 24 120, and I think it worked. So yeah, I'm going to set up, get my tripod set up, put you on a tripod, and have a snack. I've probably got 4:44. Sunsets in 30 minutes, so actually things are going to go pretty quick once things start going. So I'm going to get set up, sip some water, have a snack at hand, and then we'll sort of watch and see what happens. Okay, so getting ready. Like I said, things move really fast at sunset, so as a photographer, it's important to be prepared and ready to move with the light. Here, I actually have pretty much every single direction has potential for something cool to happen. The soft light should make this look cool, but I do feel like I worked on that pretty much last night. So I'm really hoping these clouds pop, and then I probably should start getting some more attention back here as well. But what do I mean by getting ready? So I've got my lenses prepped. I got the 100 to 400 I'm starting with. If I decide to go 24 to 120, it's in the bag, ready to go, quick swap. Get my filters attached to me so I have them if I need them. Not sure I will, just depends on which direction I'm photographing, whether I pop on a polarizing filter or not. And just from the video side of things, which a lot of folks don't have to worry about, but checking batteries, the Pocket 3's looking good. I put a fresh camera battery in before I came out on this trip just to make sure I wouldn't have to switch in the middle of something awkward. And the DJI that I'm wearing right here, I need to check its battery because it's been running a lot, make sure it's cool. And once that's all good, we just wait, see what happens. And yeah, and on that thought, this is what's important. I said sometimes the sunset here isn't great, and so many landscape photographers, they start photographing the sunset always shooting straight into the sun. And that just feels like what you're supposed to do, right? And when you first get started, and I still shoot into the sun, if the clouds are going to pop, but if the clouds aren't doing anything cool, start looking around because you'll get great light other places. These cliff walls just light up in the soft light, just amazing. So super cool. The shadows shift and how they look. So just, you got to look all around, look to see how the light's going. But don't forget, if those clouds do pop, you probably do want a picture of that. But just don't get caught up thinking that to have a good sunset, the sky has to be amazing. There's so much more to it than that. So I'm going to stop talking, put final setup in place here, and we'll see what happens. Cross your fingers. Okay, so right now I'm watching the lights on the mountains off that direction to the north because the sunlight's hitting some of their cliff faces, lots of cool shadows and stuff like that. Not a lot of color in the sky, but just we're watching for the light and the shadow on the mountain themselves over there. And because they've got these nice vertical cliff walls in them, it looks sort of cool. We'll see how it turns out on the photograph, but it should be cool. Okay, for this shot, I did put the polarizing filter on. The sun's over this way. I'm photographing this way. The light's coming in this way, so it's coming in perpendicular, so it should have a little bit of an effect. Now, these are just mountains, and I'm really going for the light and the shadow aspect of things, but why I wanted it here is to sort of cut through some of the haze. I am close to the city of Phoenix. You can see the downtown. Oh, it's 30 miles that way, 40 miles that way, I think, off in the distance, but all the smog and the haze and just the general big city pollution, it sort of fills the valley to a degree, so you get a lot of haze, and the polarizing filter should help cut through that, and it is, and help make a little bit more of a dynamic, a little bit more of a clean shot instead of having more of a soft, hazy shot. So I'm going to get a few photos here, and like I said, keeping an eye, these clouds could really pop. We'll see. I've been switching directions all sorts of places. There's just so much to keep track of. Finally get this picture I've been looking for. This is where I'm torn if I switch over to the 24-120. Works better for this big buttress thing over here and even some of the stuff over here. But if the sun pops over there, I'm going to want the 100-400, I think, and I definitely want 100-400 off there. That light's fading, so that I'll be able to not pay as much attention to. The show's happening here in front of me with these cliff walls, and then the sunset, of course. So, oh, sun's starting to dip behind the cloud, losing a little light. Man, things are just so fast when at sunset. You don't realize how fast the light moves until you're trying to photograph a sunset or sunrise. So this is where my trying to travel lighter on my bigger trips sort of hurts. A lot of times I'll have two camera bodies, so I can put the big telephoto on one and I can run a wide on the other. And an evening like this, it would be perfect because then I could easily switch from one to the other. But I get nervous to switch lenses because then something's going to happen over here and I'm going to need to switch, and this is going to move really fast. So, you know, it's like, what do you do? But that is one advantage, in my opinion, of carrying two camera bodies. I used to travel with two, but that just gets so heavy and unwieldy that I sort of cut back and I rely on my video camera. If my main camera were to die and I was doing landscape photography, I would start using my Z30 because it does good enough. Wouldn't be able to do a lot of video, but the important thing on a trip is my stills. So just an advantage of having two camera bodies if possible. But times like this is when I feel a little limited not to have both of the camera bodies with me. But you make the best you can. Okay, I'm going to cross my fingers for this sunset over here. I'm going to get the camera set up and we'll see what happens. Okay, here's the big moment. It's coming up. We are moments away from seeing if this sky goes. The colors over here are cool, but really I feel like a lot of those I sort of shot last night. I'll probably share a couple here in this video from last night too, just to sort of see. Yeah, we're going to go for this. Light over there is pretty much gone. Sort of flat now. Light's fading real quickly from here. Fingers crossed. Let's see what we get. Okay, got to make some fast camera setting changes. I was hand holding, so now I put exposure delay on, get my aperture back up, ISO down a little bit, and I'll get that histogram, bring this down. Okay, we'll see what we get here. Sunset's shooting straight in the sun is always so hard because it's really, you're shooting this big ball of light. So you really need to see just the clouds light up as the sun sinks. So get the sun down a little more, get the clouds arc across. That's what's really good. Right now I'm getting a nice little silhouetted shot. Okay, the sun's dropping. Like I said, there is a nice thin layer of clouds off there in the distance, getting darker. So what I'm getting right now is it's that classic silhouette. The mountains are dark, nice glow starting to happen, nice little orange glow. Yeah, I feel like I have a couple of these from here already, but you take what you can get. And don't get me wrong, I mean, these are pretty. It's a neat sunset photo, but, you know, as a landscape photographer, you're always looking for that something just a little extra. And it's probably partially because we've seen so many sunsets that it takes something to really wow us. You know, it's the old saying, well, at least my saying goes, is the best sunsets happen when you're in parking lots, because it always seems like that's when the colors really pop. But, you know, it's all fun. I mean, nothing beats getting out here. Okay, so now we're just waiting this out. Like I said, it's nice orange glow. Was waiting to see if anything pops. Then we'll pack things up and head out of here. Maybe do a real quick summary. What we talked about this little trip. Focus on small scenes and Siphon Draw. Yet another vlog. That's 2 vlogs from Arizona. Was going to do video on the new Nikon 100-400, but that's easy enough to do from the office or back home. So I thought the vlogging, the trip, the behind the scenes type stuff might be fun. Let's see, check the time. 5:24, sun officially set at 5:19, so we're getting the last remnants of it. Like I said, add it to the collection. Okay, that wraps up this video. Like I said, we hiked up the Siphon Draw trail and intend to get some small scenes up there. feel pretty decent about it. Didn't get exactly what I wanted, but I think I got some interesting shots. I'll obviously be shared in the video, and then caught the sunset just like I wanted on the way down. Got some okay color over here, sort of a classic Arizona sunset, so it'll be fun. And from here, I'm going to pack up. It's getting dark, so the video's not going to be great anyways, so we're going to call it the end. And if you liked what you saw today, please hit that like button. And if you see future landscape photography content from me, including tips, tricks, behind the scenes, and mini gear reviews, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And thank you for watching.